Ah, come on, you got it. Yeah, you got it. Get it. Yes. Oh, hey there. This is Thermdiz, and I'd like to welcome you to this episode of Thermdiz Gaming. Thank you so much for joining us, and I hope you enjoy. I had a lot of fun putting it together. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, let me know, and I'll be more than happy to address those. Thanks, and enjoy. We're going to play a little bit of Historic today. We're just shooting for the wins right now. That's all this stream is dedicated for. We're not going to be going for anything else. I'm going to just try to knock out some wins with Old Reliable here. Anybody who's seen me in the past, we played this game very first stream. Shout out to the past. And hopefully we can knock out a couple wins here. This deck's pretty reliable, and it sticks to a pretty easy plan at getting those wins. So we're up against possibly mono white life gain here. The reason I played the Tajuru is I've got a Fabled Passage in hand, but I don't have another land, so I can't turn to a Fynn currently. But I can turn to a Narnam with the boost. And I still didn't draw the land, so I'm going to get the Narnam Renegade out. Bolt will trigger here. We'll go ahead and drop the Narnam. It comes in as a 2/3 for 1 mana. Always a good trade off there. Even a 1/2 for 1 with Death Touch is a pretty good trade. Pretty good price to pay. So we're not upset about getting the Narnam on the battlefield. And then next turn, of course, we've got a Fynn coming to the battlefield here. Or I could even make this fight. So we're going to go ahead and make this fight here and save the Fynn for a minute because I really don't want him to get those early angels. Obviously, he's playing angels. If we're going to see a Starnheim Aspirant turn 3, he's shooting for as soon as he can for those angel spells. Feeling the 2-cost angel coming out here, the 1/3. So Righteous Valkyrie hits the battlefield. We got our third land moving in. We're finally going to drop Fynn here. And we're going to go ahead and swing away. Either block is acceptable, and it doesn't kill the Narnam. Then we're going to start the Poison Train. Real early game. This is only turn 3. We've already got the, well, I'm sorry, this is turn 4, and we've started to get the poison counters. As you can see, we're going to be able to populate or proliferate twice. If I draw land, I can do it both next turn. Did not get the land, but that's okay. We're going to drop the Death Toucher. We're going to drop the pollenbright. Proliferate. Two choices today. And then we'll go ahead and swing away. He can't kill the Fynn on board. He does have a, but I see a Doomscar. This is a Doomscar here. We're going to go ahead and save the Fynn. You know what? Screw the Fynn. If it's a Doomscar, he dies anyway. So we'll take him out. He's up to 9 poison counters now, which means next turn, I know a board wipe's coming. There's definitely not going to be a board wipe here. The next turn, he doesn't see it coming. He does not know the turn. It's his last for the game. We're going to go ahead and proliferate and knock this game into the win column. Move on to the next one. This is not a horrible hand. We do have the turn 1 Death Toucher, which is always a good thing to ask for and receive. This deck, as many people have seen, this deck is really good at top decking a Fynn. But we top deck the Pollenbright instead. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop the Pollenbright and put a +1/+1 counter here. He's playing red, so you want to take the Renegade as far out of range for damage trails as we possibly can. Real possibility draws 2 cards, and it's giants. So he doesn't control a giant yet, but as soon as a giant hits the battlefield, he's going to be able to ping me for 2 every single turn. And if Quickbringer's on the battlefield, I can't gain any life, which this deck doesn't really care about me gaining life anyway. We'll drop the land for turn, so that comes in untapped. Next turn for Fabled Passage. We may even pull a Evolution Stage off the top. And then we get a stronger Narnam Mage and a Narnam Renegade, and we cannot get counters. That's what I was always afraid of. This is what I'm most afraid of in Historic. It's the first time I've seen a solemnity actually hit the field. So unfortunately, we're going to be focusing solely on damage, but it's okay because next turn we're going to be able to drop the vorinclex for some pretty high stuff. Fynn does not trigger. Well, he's down to 11 life, and most likely we got a board wipe here this turn. So we've got the vorinclex. Vorinclex will hit the battlefield. He's got no mana to respond, and he's going to take 6. If he cannot respond to the vorinclex, then it's our game. I'm seeing another Shadow of the Sky. I get to draw a card. Perfectly fine. We've got to beat the 9 lives here, guys. That's what we're shooting for, is avoiding the 9 lives. This actually does nothing here because of the solemnity. But we want to avoid the 9 lives as much as possible. It only costs 3 mana to play, and as soon as he plays it, we're going to be locked in here. We're probably going to have to count it up as a loss. Perfectly fine. We're burning through turns real quick. He's only got 5 life left. My only hasty boys are the questing beast and the vorinclex. So every turn that I'm not able to play anything, I get closer and closer. Just taking the L for this game. Solemnity really locked me up here with the poison counters, but obviously we saw that we couldn't do much about it anyway because of the board wipes. And, you know, he was, which we weren't worried about until the solemnity came out. That's what we had to face post solemnity, is just wearing down the damage. Luckily for us, though, he's going to stay at 5 life for as long as Rampaging Ferocidon is on the battlefield, because neither of us can gain life, whereas the Quakebringer, which obviously was another combo piece to whittle me down, only stops me from gaining life. Going to keep drawing into lands here. He's only got 2 land in hand, and hopefully I draw into a haste. Haste or Death Touch, either way, but I would prefer the haste just to whittle it down even more. Quakebringer hits the battlefield, so now I can't gain life, which I couldn't anyway. And I'm going to actually take 4 damage every single turn at his upkeep. He can't play very many more creature spells, however, because it's just going to end up killing himself unless he takes care of his own Rampaging Ferocidon. So this is a pretty good here. So we've got the Narnam Renegade. I have to take the 1, but in response to the 1, we're going to go ahead and ram through on the Quakebringer just so I don't have to face that 5 damage next turn, plus the 4 from the passive. So we'll pass the turn here. None of my proliferate matters. I'm completely shut down here. Every creature he plays is a little bit more whittling away. And he does not swing. He's got 3 life left. We've got 1 more Death Toucher to play with. And I take 6 at the beginning of his turn. At least it doesn't have trample here. We're going to go ahead and swing in. I bet he blocks with the Rampaging Ferocidon just to stop his own triggers. So maybe I should have just waited. But I was 2 turns away from dying just from the Quakebringers. I'm on a 2-turn clock here. I don't think he's going to swing in with the Quakebringer until it's lethal. Rampaging Ferocidon is going to kill, or to deal 1 damage to him. So now he can no longer play any more creature spells. So if I'm able to take out this Quakebringer before my next turn, we stand a better chance. He has to block here. And now I was dead anyway. I had to kill the Quakebringer because of this. And but unfortunately, I failed to kill the Quakebringer, so I'm going to take 6 at his upkeep here. And it was kind of a obviously we were uphill. We were an uphill battle. Really, there was no hill whatsoever once Solemnity hit the battlefield. But we did manage to get him down to 2 life with a little bit of help from him. Slow down the damage, but they can't capitalize with the Solemnity, and we're able to pull victories out. So that was the first time we saw the Solemnity get played on us with this deck, and of course it's a 100% stop, and we can't do anything about it. We have no enchantment control as far as I know, but I can't recall really. And right now, at least, it does not look like we have to worry about another Solemnity this game. So Finn's going to hit the battlefield here, but it's a crapshoot on whether or not it'll stay on the battlefield. Mono blue, of course, is bouncy bouncy, and he's going to get hit with the water knot. It's going to tap the creature, but it doesn't stop the ability. So as long as I'm still doing damage here, we're going to be able to push the poison counter agenda. You know, Finn being tapped is not too big of a deal because what we really need him for is the counters. And so him just being on the battlefield is what's important. It is our only death toucher right now, but I see, and of course we can't, where there's nothing to really proliferate here except for his own Teferi, which we don't want to do. We're going to play Evolution Sage. And we'll play a land. I want to force the minus here just to slow his Teferi down. That way he'll phase out my creature in response. And hopefully, so he either loses the corridor monitor or he fades out Fynn. Now, when Fynn fades out, he does take the enchantment with him. Here. He went ahead and did the plus, so I was able to knock him for 3. And he can't bounce. He can't phase out both the evolution sages, so he's going to lose his Safaris here unless he wipes the board in some way, or allows for another blocker. But I will be able to take care of any blocker that comes my way. See what he gets here. He gets the Nyx Lotus. No threat to me because we're going to take down his devotion to 0. We're going to save the circuitous route for now, just so that we can capitalize on the evolution sages whenever we do manage to get poison counters going. He's going to draw a card. I'm not too worried about the Narset. I don't have extra draw here. But I want to take out this Teferi as soon as possible, just because I don't like my things not being able to be controlled. So far, he's running mono blue. So the only board wipes we're really going to be looking at are going to be things that, of course, he taps the Narnam. I think I'm going to wait on the Narnam so that he wastes this water knot on an evolution sage. It does not stop his abilities, remember. It just taps him down, but it doesn't stop the proliferate trigger on the landfall. And they don't want to have that Narnam Renegade up and ready to go. So he's got 0 devotion to anything. So he cannot add any mana with the Nyx Lotus right now. But of course, he's got 7 mana available. He can bust out some serious devotion real quick. Actually, he did have 2 devotion, and now he's got 4. So this is worth 4. Thank you for reminding me about that. You're welcome, Ian. So this is really good because we can drop the Fabled Passage. And then, of course, we have no poison counters currently, but we can go ahead and get rid of the poison counters to get a stronger Renegade. And then I'll even have responses if he pulls a creature or something like that. And he's going to have to take 6 damage to the face. So this game is now on a 1-turn clock, unless he has a way to get everything off the board. But if everything comes off the board, I get some extra turns with before I'm worried about the water not sitting back. He's going to tap out here. He's got 12 mana available. What could possibly go wrong? Finality of Revelation. So he gets 5 lands untapped here. Let's take a look at this, a closer look. And finale gets exiled. So he's got 5 mana to play around with. It's mono blue, so he very well might drop another water knot. So Thassa's comes out. He's still got 44 cards in his library, so Thassa's will not resolve. And I'm actually going to go ahead and knock out 2 extra devotion to blue. He can counter this spell, but he doesn't. So it drops to 4, reveals 4, and then of course he's going to keep 1 top for next turn. I went ahead and took out his blocker. So Charm Sleep, tap enchanted creature. So I'm going to go ahead and swing in for the damage. We went for the kill instead of the poison in this game. We just didn't have a choice to do it any other way. 1 poison counter, with 3 evolution sages on it, would have been enough to, and of course it starts at 2 with a Death Toucher, but would have been enough to clear just about everything and get that victory in much earlier without having to worry about that finality costing us the game. I'm still learning my way through Twitch. I obviously don't know everything, and I barely know really anything. I'm still working on my knowledge base here. And it shows that I've got about 4 users involved somehow in my stream. And of course, I didn't reset the window last night, so it could be just left over from last night. So I don't know if those 4 users are watching me or just listening, or just involved in my page in one way or another. So we're going to go ahead and drop the first turn Death Toucher. So turn 2, I'll be able to start the Poison Train. Once you get on the Poison Train, boys, it's very, very difficult to get off that. So Llanowar Elves comes out. So he has a viable blocker here. We're going to go ahead and show the Fynn, just so he's threatened enough to block with the Llanowar Elf. If he doesn't take the poison counter, it's perfectly all right. Or if, it's a win-win for us because we either slow him down or give him poison counters. So he can go ahead and kill the Fynn here. All it does is keep a turn from me. And of course, it's legendary, so I can't have more than 1. So we'll Fynn here once again, and then we'll go ahead and fight the Llanowar Elf. We get to be able to do a little bit more damage, and we get another 2 sets of poison counters. He missed the land drop last turn, guys. I don't know if he went first. He missed the land drop, so the Llanowar Elf was very important to him, and now he's going to just make up the difference by going ahead and doing what any sane person would do and searching his library for the cards he needs. I'd totally do that if I had that option, but unfortunately, I draw the haste, Death Touch. We're going to throw 6 poison counters on here, and that's going to be the end of the game. Play a sealed draft just so I have full availability of the cards. So we're in the same kind of boat here. We're going to go ahead and drop the Tajuru first. We're going to slow this down to turn 3, especially since things may not survive. He's playing blue-black, best control in the game, blue-black, and blue-black-white now. Thought Erasure. He can go ahead and dump the Fynn. No reason for him not to. But we'll pay the passage to get a stronger Renegade. All seen it happen before. And it's worked out pretty well so far. Have not seen a Thought Erasure in a long time, actually. And of course, now it is from Ravnica Revisited. And I know that's not the set name, but the new Ravnica block, and so it's no longer standard legal. But even at the tail end of that standard set, it was getting much fewer and further between on those Thought Erasures. I only wish Blizzard Brawl was an instant. If you could instant speed Indestructible for 1 mana, it would be probably the strongest green card available. I go ahead and discard 2 cards. It's unfortunate because I will have to just go ahead and ship 2 lands. I'm praying for a land draw here, and we get the land draw. Top deck our answers, boys. That's all you have to do. You just got to pray to the heart of the cards, and boys and girls, by the way. But you just have to pray to the heart of the cards, and if you pray hard enough, they'll answer. He's got 6 life remaining here. Nothing's coming back from the graveyard. We draw yet another answer. He is probably livid here. He's got 1 card to play. I doubt it's a board wipe. If it is a board wipe, he's got just as good top decks as I do. He goes ahead and hits the surrender button, and we move this game. We're cooking along here, guys. We're only 24 minutes in, and we've already put 6 wins on the board, I think. Now that I've started doing this streaming stuff, I'm really going to start delving into the computing side of everything. You know, I've got all these numbers across the top of my screen on my studio, my Twitch studio. Anybody who streams, I know it's Twitch. I got a lot of things going across the top. I have no idea what they're all in green. Sometimes they switch to yellow, but they're all in green mostly. So green is good 9 times out of 10. And we're going to be able to kill this healer sock here pretty easily. I think we want to drop the fabled passage and fight. He does end up gaining the life, but that's okay. We'll take it right away. So it's a wash, but he loses a creature in the process, and I do not. We've only got about 20 minutes left that I'm going to be streaming today, guys. So I thank everybody who's watching, and I hope you get to see you several times in the future. Sarah Angel comes down. We're not at all worried about Sarah Angel. Anytime that it becomes a threat, we can ram through, kill it immediately. And it's only a 1-1 right now. So we have to keep him. He's definitely not going to block here. That thing is too valuable to block something it can't kill. And we just have to keep him below that 30 life. And Sarah Ascendant rather is never a threat. Now, granted, he probably will start gaining some serious life if we're not careful. But the funny thing is, should have held on to that fabled passage, really. I would have missed the land drop, but I would have had double proliferation next turn. Because I'm going to be able to get the poison counter here almost guaranteed. We're going to swing away because if he blocks with the Sarah Ascendant anybody, he loses. And so we can watch the board here. He's got 15 life to gain in order to trigger the Sarah Ascendant. At any time I feel like he's getting really, really close to that, we'll just go ahead and nuke the Sarah Ascendant. He's not even a threat to us at 6 because we can just take care of him at any time. Cosmos Elixir comes down, perfectly fine. He'll gain the 2 life, perfectly fine. It doesn't put him at 30 anywhere near. So, and at least he's not drawing a card. I'm much more afraid of card draw than I am of life gain because of what the possibilities are going to be. So, because right now, gaining life is only going to, the only possibility is to get a 6/6 fly. Card draw, he can draw anything, and he's playing white, which means kill, which means board wipes. We didn't have to worry about any of it, though, it turns out, because he just went ahead and surrendered as soon as he saw the questing beast. Let me know in the comments if you would have kept this hand. I want to know what you think. Am I doing the right thing? You know, I'm a human being. I'm not perfect. Nobody is, and I make mistakes just like everybody else. So let me know if you would have done it something differently. If you would have said, "I don't like the way this hand looks, even though I can play the entire thing. I want to go ahead and mulligan." I might get caught up in another 2 lands for 10 turns, and but we'll see how this plays out. I'm having a good time with this. Ooh, man, it just got a little bit better there. I think I'm still going to go with the Narnam Renegade. So 1/2 for 1 instead of the 1/1 for 1. And next turn I get an even stronger. So this taps for black and this taps for white. So we're probably going to see some plays going around that. Could be anything. Could be snow based. Could be just about anything. We'll go ahead and drop the Fabled Passage. Comes in tap, but perfectly all right. We're sitting pretty with 2 mana open. We're going to leave those 2 mana open just in case he decides to pull a fast one on us. I think this is going to be creature based. 1 more mana, and he's going to be able to wipe the board. Another reason we kept the Tajuru up. So we're going to just keep sitting, because I want him to go ahead and waste a spell on these two 1-cost creatures. Because that way I'm not. If I'd have had a Fynn, I would have played it. Cleansing Nova comes out, of course. So he had an expensive kill. Questing Beast comes down. Definitely a good replacement for that. But I see more board wipes in my future. Elspeth Conquers Death will take out the Questing Beast. And now I'm on the hunt for a land. If it is creature based, I've got some removal that I can do at instant speed. No longer. I can do it eventually. We're going to see. We obviously see that we're at the disadvantage here, and I'm assuming that this can only be one thing, and that's a Doomscar. I don't know if he'll waste a Doomscar on a single 1/1, but maybe at 9 life he will. And he's got no creatures to return. And he's got 1 creature to buff, so we'll go ahead and ram through this thing just so I don't lose my Tajuru, and maybe it makes him think that it's worth casting this Doomscar for a 1. So he is going to cast it, it looks like. He also proliferates. That's always fun. It is unfortunate here because I'm not able to do the. Actually, come on, what's going on? I definitely pull the Doomscar if I drop this Vorinclex. That's a given. But we're going to force the play here. I don't have a response to the creature, but he's definitely going to make one because the creature is going to die no matter what. He goes ahead and surrenders. He has nothing to do after that because he's only at 2 life. Anything I pull out probably kill him. And he basically represented that he had no more board wipes in hand, and he was not going to draw to it. Right now we're having a pretty good time. Anybody keeping track on my page will see a calendar, a schedule go up today. I'll have a schedule for the rest of the month available for today, and that way you can tune in and keep an eye on anything that we're going to be doing. Every Saturday or Sunday, depending on availability, I'm going to be playing a different game. Just to spice up the channel a little bit and pull in a little bit of variety. We definitely don't want to be a one-trick pony, and we want to see everybody have a good time and everybody enjoy what's going on the stream. Cascading Cataracts comes down, indestructible land. Tap 5, add 5. So that seems fun to me. We'll go ahead and drop the evolution sage here. I think I went first, but I think he's missed a land drop here. He kept 2 mana hand, which is perfectly fine. There's no problem with that whatsoever. But we're going to buff up the pollenbright. I could have dropped the questing beast, but I wanna start benefiting off these proliferate triggers. So we're gonna go ahead and drop the pollenbright and buff up the evolution stage 6. And I can even drop the Tajuru. I should have put both of those on the Maze Mind Tome, so we only have 1 more trigger with it. But it's okay. We've learned our lesson, and I gotta pay attention to sometimes putting counters on your opponent's stuff does benefit. Especially with things like it's got hexproof, so let's see here. I was just thinking about 9 lives and how if I had the proliferation ability, it would probably benefit me to throw counters on 9 lives, but it has hexproof, so I'm not sure if I can actually proliferate my side. He definitely can because it's not immune to his own hexproof, but I don't know if I can because it just says choose any number of permanents or players. It doesn't specify targets, but I think it is a target. I'd have to delve into the rules regarding proliferate. All right, so this is definitely worth keeping. 4 land in the hand. Fynn on turn 2. Solid quit, and I go first. We'll go ahead and burn a fabled passage. Yeah, that way I've got 3 untapped lands on turn 3 no matter what. And then turn 4, I get the second fabled passage to come tapped. We've got some control here, and of course we've got the death touch, so these control spells will just blow away anything. He's rocking red, and he's rocking goblins. So we're going to have some fun with these goblins. I'm about 50-50 on goblin games. It just depends on really who's able to get the advantage first. Goblins seems to be able to pull out a better combo faster than me because of the blockers it can produce, and he's not really worried about wasting little 1/1s and stuff. Goes ahead and sacrifices the Skirk Prospector to give his goblins haste, and I think that's a mistake because we're going to go ahead and Blizzard Brawl this Goblin Warchief. And now our poison train is on the tracks, and because he got rid of that Skirk Prospector, he loses his mana advantage unless he's got another one in hand, but he's still going to be a turn behind on it. And so we'll see how the game progresses here. I think he only sacrifices the Skirk Prospector because he has another one. We're going to go ahead and feed the bear. I don't do that very often. I don't know if anybody cares if I feed my bear or not. But I really do like the white version. Of course, he gets Muxus, which we're not afraid of one bit. We've got plenty of time before the Muxus drops. And we'll go ahead and guarantee a vorinclex next turn. He definitely blocks here with the Goblin Matron. It's done its job. Why did it? Oh, it's I fabled passage. I thought I just screwed up a circuitous route and might have cost me the game. So he definitely blocks here with the Goblin Matron. And he goes ahead and takes it. So I wasn't expecting that. I thought for sure he'd throw that away. The Goblin Matron has done its job. There's no real use keeping it around when he's now on a 3-turn clock. So he's got the Goblin Chieftain here, and I can do 2 things here. I can either give him up to 8, and I still don't see the Muxus next turn, but I very well could see the Krinko. So I think it's worth saving for the big win next turn and allowing myself to run through on this Goblin Chieftain the second he casts that Krinko spell. Krinko Mob Boss is really good. It's essential for every Goblin deck. It costs 4, which of course is. So it goes ahead and Goblin Matrons. It has haste, which I can still take away, actually. Yeah, I have until he attacks to take away the haste. So he goes for the War Chief. We'll go ahead and fight the Goblin Chieftain so I'm not facing as much damage. And so he get the Summoning Sickness is still in effect. So Summoning Sickness exists always, but you can avoid the Summoning Sickness if it has haste. Now, okay, so this is perfect. So this is the game, guys. We're going to kill the blocker here and then drop the vorinclex, and then we'll be able to drop all 4 counters at one time. So what happens with haste is a creature that's given haste by another ability on its first turn it still suffers from summoning sickness, but you can ignore it because the exact wording for the ruling of haste is it can attack as though it didn't have summoning sickness. That's the exact rule of haste. Okay, you're able to take that haste out away for any reason, it retains the summoning sickness because the summoning sickness is a different ability. Haste doesn't get rid of summoning sickness; it just makes it to where you can ignore it. So we're going to keep this hand, of course. I go first, so I get my 1/2 out. We're going to see here if I can top deck the Fynn. I am searching for a Fynn, but I'm in a pretty safe area. Otherwise, I've got the control and knock out something big. And regardless of the indestructible, we're going to go ahead and we do top a deck at play here. Make this Narnam Renegade a little bit stronger, a little bit harder to deal with. And Priest of Forgotten Gods hits the battlefield. We're not worried about that in the slightest, because we have choices. And pollenbright, of course, is a given choice for the first trigger. But I think we're going to go ahead and, you know what, I'm going to save it. I'm going to sit and play the evolution stage just so I can keep powering up the Narn Renegade. It's very unlikely that two of my creatures survive to my untap step. It'll all depend on whether or not he's able to throw this priest off, which he does. He's able to do the priest, but I don't know if he's going to waste the Woe Strider for it. He does not waste the Woe Strider because, of course, I'll just get rid of the pollenbright druid. So we can land here. We can drop this land and force a play because we can blizzard brawl here, in which case it would clear his board. And we can blizzard brawl a priest of the Forgotten Gods, in which he's forced to tap it if he wants to. He doesn't have to tap it. He is forced to tap it or sack it to the Woe Strider, which we're now out of lethal on the Woe Strider with our Narnam Renegade. He can sack it to the Woe Strider just to get the scry. He goes ahead and completely clears his entire board and concedes. So we got that 10 win there. We've still got a little bit of time. I'm gonna go ahead and play one more game. No question here. I don't think anybody could deny keeping this hand for sure. I've got a Fynn and I've got one to replace. I've also got the control, and I'll have 3 lands entering the battlefields. So this is definitely a hand worth keeping here. And opponent's going to go first, so we're going to see what he plays. I would definitely feel more comfortable being on the play, but everybody is, right? Like everybody's more comfortable on the play. Like there's definitely decks out there that are built for to be on the draw. Especially, but usually those decks work on any turn. They don't necessarily have to be on your first draw, you know. So we're going to be able to drop the Pollenbright next turn. I cannot bring this Fabled Passage in as is, untapped. But we can go ahead and drop the Pollenbright and buff up my Fynn. He's drawing a bunch of cards here. He's got plenty of cards in his deck. We do draw the land. So it's almost worth it to go ahead and drop the Evolution Sage. I think I'm still going to drop the Pollenbright. Ooh. Okay, here's what I'm going to do. So I'm going to swing. And then I'm going to put a +1/+1 counter on Fynn. Next turn, I'll be able to populate twice, which increases Finn's power and the poison counters. Pretty good play, if Fynn survives. Either way, I'm going to increase the poison counters as long as it resolves. He does not have double blue for a major counter, and now he has no mana at all. So I don't care about the mill. I cannot affect my graveyard, and he's just really going to be sifting through my own deck there to help me draw some answers. So we drop the Fabled Passage here. We've got 2 choices for the proliferate, and we're going to be able to proliferate twice here. So now I managed to buy myself an entire combat phase worth of poison counters, and we're going to drop another set of 2 on there. I'm now 2 turns away on board state. However, I will be able to populate twice again next turn if everything survives, and I'll be able to swing for the game on the Fynn. So he plays a Llanowar Elf. He's got mana up. He cannot counter the land, and he cannot counter the trigger. It draws that many cards. Reduces put in the graveyard. That's a pretty good combo there. He does only hit me for 8 mil, and it's not going to be enough to win in the game because I've got the control to get rid of his blocker. I've got the proliferate to make it lethal. The 2 submit 2 there. We're going to drop the fabled passage here. And I could go ahead and I could actually, I could do a whole bunch of stuff here. I could actually do everything in my hand. We'll go ahead and kill the blocker. No reason to keep it around. We'll go ahead and just flex on this guy. It's our last game for the night. We'll go ahead and flex on this guy, drop the questing beast, and he surrenders. That was a pretty good run. We did pretty good on that run. 11 wins, probably 12, 13 games. I lost at least once. I lost to the Solemnity, and I'm sure I lost. I think I lost to that black-white control that we went up against. So we're two notches into tier 3. We're going to keep moving through. I think we're going to be able to power through platinum pretty easily. Our only threat is any deck with Solemnity. Every other deck, all I need is 1 poison counter, and I can do the rest with nothing else on the field except for my lands. It goes faster when I have more, obviously, but they're not required. All I have to do is get the 2 poison, just get the starting poison counters, and everything else can basically be run manually. It's really harsh when I have the 2 poison counters, but I'm not able to pull into anything that proliferates. And I don't know, they never talk about this on streams, but this makes your throat dry. Oh, we can't show the logo there. They're not sponsoring me yet. So I have to drink in an insanely stupid way until I manage to get some duct tape on that cup. And I really don't even know if I'm going to put that duct tape on there. It's not that important to me, and if you come out and you see that I'm drinking that, and you decide to go and drink that, that's perfectly fine. It's water, guys. It's just water. For now. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and cut it short there for today. You're going to see a lot of action from me in the next week or so. We're going to be streaming every single day that I can, unless something comes up where I'm not able to. But we're going to get at least an hour stream every single day. I'm going to have the schedule up tonight so everybody can see what's going to be going on in the future. And then I'm going to start, as I develop my channel, I'm going to start making sure these videos are posted online permanently so that people can watch them and enjoy them as much as I do, and as much as anybody that watches these hopefully does. So questions, comments, concerns, just leave them in the chat below, and I will do everything in my power to answer those. I don't even know if I see chat after I log out here, but we'll find out. We're going to go ahead and exit for today, guys. Thanks as always for joining me, and we'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, thanks again for coming and joining me for this video. I really hope you enjoyed it. I'll be pushing out some more content here shortly. You can always follow right here, and don't forget to subscribe to get those notifications when new videos come out. Thank you again so much for joining me, and have a great night.